Apparently, this is the state of the Zambian economy. A lot of people are gravitating towards, practicing witchcraft and just doing crazy ritual practices. Obviously, this is a sin which happened a few hours ago. So the whole story is yesterday, there is a man who was allegedly, incarcerated, and he defiled his daughter. So he happens to have three wives, and this scenario is coming from his household. Apparently, people believe that the said gentleman was arrested, whose three wives wanted him to get out of prison because he happens to be the sole provider. this is the scenario at his place, which is very, very disturbing. So the question is, why are we beginning to experience a lot of people practicing witchcraft? And not so long ago, we had an incident in Garden Compound where a woman allegedly kept the body of her dead husband for a very long period of time, and these are not the only cases. There's a lot of prevalence when it comes to Jezebel oil usage by students across Zambia. A lot of women are beginning to gravitate towards using charms in order for them to sort of have an upper hand with regards to safeguarding, or rather, capturing Zambian men, especially the wealthy ones. So now the question is, why are we suddenly beginning to have such a drastic change in terms of our practices? Of course, we know Zambia is a Christian nation. It was declared a Christian nation by Chiluba a while back. But right now, people want money, and people are definitely going to jump to alternative methods of making money. So, my question to you, the viewers, is what is going on, and why are we beginning to experience so many such sinister practices? Siku, hi, how are you?
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. So, what is your analysis on the crazy practices that are beginning to become very popular here in Zambia?
Crazy thing is that we were talking about this yesterday. We were talking about the issue of the wives going to the police and saying, "Give us back our husband and take the child." So one would think they might be, if you're superstitious, maybe they might be under some spell because that's no normal way of thinking, and it's crazy. So looking at the house that was invaded by people and they discovered the charms, it looks to be a pretty okay middle class a house. Now that had me wondering, how long has the defilement been taking place? If now there's this
Do you
allegedly
suppose
evidence
the
that's been found
defilement
in the
was
house.
part of the ritual? The gentleman was defiling the daughter, and obviously the wives consented to that act due to the fact that they were in on something. They were expecting, I don't know, abundance, blessings, etc. And this is one of the reasons why perhaps they neglected the fact that the daughter was being defiled.
Yeah, which is crazy. So now, what's the solution to this? Should we ban witch doctors, traditional healers? And where's the difference between witch doctors and traditional healers? Who are these people that are giving such people this type of information of making shrines in their homes, defiling their children? So we need to find the root cause. Is the economy the reason why people are resorting to these measures? All these are questions that we need to really find out what exactly is causing these acts, because it's non-Christian. We're seen as a Christian nation. We were declared by late President Frederick Chiluba as a Christian nation. So you know, uh, it's shocking that these things are happening.
Yeah, definitely. And if you take a look at what really happens in our society, right, there's a lot of posters. If you roam around Lusaka, even parts of the Copper Belt, you're going to see a lot of witch doctor advertisements. There's a lot of ads about, people from Luapula, people from wherever. So now the question is, since people are gravitating towards this practice, do you perhaps think there is a need for it? Are people yearning for it? Because if there wasn't any demand, right, there obviously wouldn't be such practices, and people wouldn't be putting up ads. People wouldn't be seeking such type of divine interventions, if I can put it that way. So do you perhaps think Zambians really need to get back to their roots, practice witchcraft, and just basically use the spiritual advantage of getting away with stuff?
Well, that's a very interesting question, and I would love to say that I've never known. I don't know how what the benefits are in terms of practicing these uh, witchcraft activities. So what I know is I'm a Christian. We're a Christian nation. My father is a Christian. His father before that was a Christian. So it's hard to kind of say, let's go back to the old traditional ways of our lives by, by accepting these traditional activities that are happening. But it's unfortunate that, well, I think, let me not use the word unfortunate, but it's the modern day society cannot allow old traditional
Yeah, Siko, are you still there? Well, I think I lost Siko. He'll be back in a short period of time. So remember, we had a conversation, or there was um, a suggestion with regards to introducing witchcraft studies at the University of Zambia. So I remember a while back, is it Professor Nkandulu, if I'm not mistaken? Please don't quote me on that one. I think she was suggesting to introduce witchcraft related topics. I don't really know how she phrased it, whether it was witchcraft or spiritual lessons, etc. So obviously, as African people, right, we're very superstitious, and obviously, according to our past, right, a long time ago, we never used to have modern uh, practices with regards to medicine, etc. The conventional medicine that you and I understand, right? But we obviously used to use a lot of herbs. We used to use a lot of charms. We used to have a lot of beliefs, etc. And we sort of sustained our lives. Now, there's obviously a great debate with us being African, and a lot of people have said that we have lost our roots. And if you talk about different countries such as Benin, uh, which other countries practice a lot of, there are a lot of countries that practice witchcraft. There are witchcraft festivals, voodoo related type of religions, etc. So now a lot of people are tending to gravitate towards this belief because obviously some people are getting results. And if you also come to Lusaka, right, you're going to see a lot of advertisements by Indians or foreigners talking about the best practices and astrology, etc. Just basically these dubious ways of obtaining wealth. Because at this particular moment, right, a lot of people are striving to get wealthy because money obviously rules everything. And with social media, everybody is enticed to have a better life. But with this, people are trying to use the shortcut. And this is one of the reasons why we're seeing a lot of spiritualism. And there are a few characters, aka papas, who are also using the word of God to practice witchcraft, voodoo, spiritualism, etc. So this is obviously a problem which is really, really becoming prevalent. So some might call it a problem, some might call it a solution. It depends on where you lean on, etc. So Siko, are you back? Well, I think Siko has lost connection. So basically, this is a discussion that I really wanted to have from you, and I'm really looking forward to your comments. Right now, I'm seeing a lot of you give us some comments and your opinions. Katongo says witchcraft is real. Be very careful. Priscilla says, why are the people doing this? So obviously, people are looking for alternative solutions. So does witchcraft work? Has anybody ever used witchcraft to make money? Is there magic witchcraft money? So please let me know in the comment section below if you know anybody who practices witchcraft. Of course, you're not going to blatantly, agree that you do, but please let me know what your experience with witchcraft business success. Okay, so anyway, moving on to the next topic. Um, a lot of people have been speculating whether the new Zambian banknotes have had the face of President Hakainde Hichilema engraved on it. Obviously, this is a talking point of the opposition, and people have been trying to make a big fuss out of it. So we did experience, or rather, we did actually get to hear from the president himself denouncing the fact that his face is not on the new Zambian banknote. So let me just show you the video right now, and we're going to pick up the conversation from there. So hold on. Yeah, it should be this one.
But sir, I wanted to catch him there. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Hi, Mr. President.
How are you?
How are you?
Very good.
It's great to see you. Welcome to Mongo.
Thank you, sir.
Just a quick question, sir. Your favorite note, the brand new notes. Do you like the 500, the 200? Which one?
All of them.
All of them.
They all have important functionalities, and people are speculating that there's my portrait there. It's not there.
It's not there.
I'm not even sure where they're getting it. Please, they shouldn't make accusations that are hugely wrong. Not right. Let's focus on positive things.
Thank you, Mr.
That
President.
new currency was needed. The old currency was soiled. We needed a new currency. Also good features across the country. Kalambo Force is there. Mombele is there. So it's a country.
Thank you, Mr. President.
We must be proud of it.
Thank you, sir. Cheers.
Thank you.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. So, in case you are still wondering whether the allegations are true or not, whether the president's face is on the new Zambian banknote, he's actually denied it. And you shouldn't really fall for speculation. Speculation will always be speculation. And yeah, this is one of the reasons why it's very important for us to be very factual and for rumors to be disputed. So this is one of the reasons why I really like the fact that Simon Mwelen had the courage to go and blatantly ask the president whether his face is on the dollar bill or rather on the new Zambian banknote. Sikfele, welcome back.
Thank you. Sorry, network.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you were saying?
Yeah. So we left off on the issue of charms and the prevalence of seeking divine intervention, aka spiritual awakening via voodoo witchcraft. Hello, Siku. Yeah, it really seems Sikfela is having a tough time with regards to, well, his network. So anyhow, there's also another confession that I came across on YouTube. Now, this one is about the Zambian occult sisterhood of wealth. So just like I told you, right, we are seriously having a big problem here in Zambia, and people are gravitating towards spirituality in order for them to attain wealth. So obviously, maybe a few of you might have seen this particular episode, and sometimes YouTubers, bloggers, and basically social media people tend to come up with fake type of information. So we do not really know whether this was an actual real event, whether this was a made up story and whatnot. But anyway, let's just listen to it and then we'll pick it up from there.
To you, and I want people to know that I do believe honestly that there might be a God in heaven, because some of the things that I have witnessed in my life, it might sound as if I am a confused woman, but I have seen a lot, even though I am still fighting with the idea that God does exist. People, when they look at me, they see a woman who has been blessed by God. And if you do not know me, you won't even know that deep down in my heart, I have chosen to become an unbeliever because of the oath that I have taken. I do have your stickers even on my car that is all about Jesus Christ. I do go to church. I do give my tithing in time. I worship with other Christians. But when I worship, I do not worship with my heart. I just go there because I want a sense of community and a sense of belonging, so that the day that I am going to die, there is a church and a pastor that can preach at my funeral. And when people look at me, they see me as a woman who has been blessed by God after losing her own husband. But I guess that the Holy Spirit is quite a tricky spirit that will always remind you that even if people think that you are what you are, but as for the Spirit of the Lord knows who truly you are. So many times I have felt the Holy Spirit opening up my heart, like an onion. It has so many layers. That is what happens when you become a ritualist. Deep inside all of those layers, there are more protective layers that protect you from the things of God, from the word of God. And inside, that is where your heart will be protected by all of these demons. And I have been feeling this for many days until now that I have decided to confess. The Spirit of the Lord, I feel as if He has been peeling away, removing the layers that have been covering my heart for a number of years now. I don't know why I am doing this. I don't know why I am confessing, not knowing what is going to happen to me. What does God want me to do? Why does the Holy Spirit keep on tormenting me each and every night, making me to lose sleep, thinking about the things that I have done? My story started when my husband passed away. It was a tough year for me when I lost my husband. I was a struggling teacher who could even barely afford a bus fare. Now the worst had happened. I had lost my husband. But now, when I look at myself, I am owning a fleet of cars. I do have a mansion here in Lusaka. I have a business, and to other people, they see a success story of a widow who lost her husband and pulled through. But it is not because of my wealth that just comes from God. No, it has something to do with things that I did, some of them that are quite evil, even to be mentioned on a public platform. I was stationed at a place that is called Chipata. Life was hard, and there were times when we would get our salaries that would have been delayed, and when we would be paid, it was never enough for us to survive. I was drowning in debt, borrowing from colleagues and eating one meal a day. My children could not even go to school because I could not even afford their school fees. I felt like a complete failure. One day, that was when a mysterious phone call came in. Oh, it was from one of my university friend whom I will call Naomi. She reached out to me, and when I saw her pictures that she was sending to me, she was really beautiful and she was glowing. She was filled with success. She had beautiful clothes. She was wearing things that were expensive. She said, I have bought my car and I want you to celebrate it with me. And I did not even want to ask where she had gotten my phone numbers. And we then went out, and I was even embarrassed to be with her because of the clothes that I was wearing. We went out for lunch, and she was driving in her beautiful new BMW, and I was so ashamed of myself. Over lunch, that was when I found myself breaking down mentally. I told her about my struggles, losing my husband to high blood pressure. She then told me not to be afraid, for she had been sent by God. She was going to be there for me. She was going to be my rock. And she said, find strength not in God, but in me. I was very suspicious of that, but I said, let me just do whatever that she wants. She said, are you willing to go far with the things that I am about to tell you? I said, I am ready. Since she had promised me a lot of money, and she said, if you are that desperate, I'm going to introduce you to this other woman, like I was introduced to that woman. She briefly told me about her club, which is a club of women that are wealthy. And she said, I will introduce you to the Sisterhood of Riches. She told me that in that club, what they do is that when you have a business that you want to start, they can give you money, then you repay it back. So she said they created this group as a way to achieve financial freedom, but only those that are willing to make the sacrifices. It sounded like a good thing as the days passed, and when she told me that it was now time, so I had to present a business plan in which I had already drafted a business plan. The meeting was held at a lavish home just outside of Lusaka. They came 5 more women of all ages who sat almost in a circle, and I was in the middle, and I had been told to wear a dress that was black. Anything on me was supposed to be black. The mother of this group, to my surprise, they called her Mother Wealth, Mother World, so I could not understand. They kept on calling her Mother Wealth, Mother World. Then she explained to me that when I would have joined this group, these were the rules: to be loyal, to be silent, and total obedience, to sleep with as many pastors as you can using your money. That was all that was needed. And then they started laughing, each one counting how many pastors she had slept with. And if I was going to disobey this club, then one amongst my children was going to be disowned by me, in which I could not understand what she meant by disowning my child. Later on, it was revealed to me that it meant that one of my child was supposed to die after I had borrowed money from them. A guarantee was for me to write the names of my children in the middle of the night. They handed me this little red black book, and I wrote the names of my children. They brought before me a live chicken, which I slaughtered, and then I drank the blood, and I said, with these words, if anything happens, the words that I am about to say, if I fail to return this money, then so be it. Let me lose one amongst my daughters, in which I had 3 girls and 1 boy. Those were the guarantees that if I did not return the money in time, one amongst them was going to die. The first task came a week later. After I had been given a money, I was told to abandon my teaching job and to find a madman that I was going to donate some of the money to. So I went around looking for someone that was mentally ill. I don't know if these were the things of the devil who just wanted me to sacrifice my daughter. Do you think that you can spend a week without seeing a person that is mentally ill each and every day, waking up and going into town? I was given that money by Naomi. When I would go around, I could not find a madman to dump this money on until I was called back to the house, and I was told that I had failed to honor my duties. And I said, so what is going to happen to me? I was told that in the next few days, my daughter was going to die. So I had to prepare myself so that on the day when she was going to die, not even a single tear was going to drop from my eyes. I cried until no tears could come out anymore. As a matter of fact, when my daughter passed away, I was drunk, and then she passed away. After my daughter had passed away, I was given money and the permission to start the business. After that, I started to have a dream of a snake that comes and sleeps with me as if it is my husband. The problem is that, like I told you in the beginning of my story, I keep on hearing the voice of the Holy Spirit, not knowing what exactly does the Holy Spirit want from me, because I only hear the Holy Spirit as it is opening up my heart so that I can confess. But in this sisterhood, I was told that to church, I can go to church, but I should never give my life to Christ, and I am not supposed to be serious with the things of God. How can I survive? Should I repent and give my life to Christ? Is this a sign from God? If I do follow what the Holy Spirit wants from me, will God be able to protect me and my wealth if I abandon this sisterhood of riches? Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our sister right there. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world. Can you just imagine the sisterhood of riches? Give your life to Christ. If you lose your wealth, so be it. It is far much better to suffer here on earth and be in paradise with Christ. Let us speak with her in the comments.
Okay, so that was a basic confession from one of our Zambian ladies. So, like we've been talking about, right? This is a very big problem. It's a very big. A lot of people are going through such, you know. So, Siku, are you back?
Yes, I am back, and yo, that was like watching straight something from a Nigerian movie, and it's crazy.
Yeah, so we do not really know whether this is factual, whether this is true, because as you heard, right, it was being narrated by somebody with a Zimbabwean accent. So it could be one of those situations where somebody wants to get numbers on their YouTube channel, and then they just sort of come up with interesting stories. So we do not really know whether this is factual or not. But as you have already seen, right, there's a lot of witchcraft associated activities happening in Zambia. So Siku, your thoughts before I cut you off again?
So like I was earlier saying, it's crazy that these things are happening, and for the video that we're just from listening to the audio, it's crazy. But these are things that, regardless of we do not know how factual it is, we are kind of seeing this in our everyday activities. We're kind of seeing how people are becoming desperate for finances and what they're doing. And it's quite very unfortunate that a lot of people are falling in traps. So for example, in the narration, the lady was told to sleep with as many pastors as possible, and we're seeing these cases popping up, of pastor vari vasanga kungandaya vakashiva vanani. So these are cases that have been popping up. We're seeing cases of pastors defiling church members and whatnot. So it's not so far-fetched. We're able to see these things happening, and if these things are things that are being influenced by such people, it's crazy.
Yeah, and just like you earlier talked about pastors being targets and pastors actually targeting women in their congregation, right? There is obviously a case with the famous Lusaka prophet. You obviously know who John General is, right? You know how the case is going. So these are things that are really happening in society, and people are able to add one and one to make two. So now the question is, does this really work? Is this producing results? That's something that I'm really, really interested in finding out, because obviously there's no smoke without fire. In order for people to believe in things, they're obviously seeing some sort of results, or they've got enough conviction for them to try it out.
Yeah, I think that's one of it's an interesting question to ask. And something just funny popped up in my head. I was thinking, have you ever caught yourself kind of like looking at a woman that you wouldn't normally do? So I was thinking, of late, you're kind of like all these, because we're seeing women with the TikTok videos on Facebook, on social media platforms, and these people are just looking amazing and nice. So like normally I wouldn't look at this person. Like, what's drawing me to this person? Like, just looking at them and in like they're attractive. So now with this video, it kind of like it's scary. You're like,
Yeah, for sure.
under the influence.
I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard about Jezebel oil. There are waist beads. African ladies love waist beads. There are waist beads that are laced with charms. So there's a lot of sophisticated material out there. And it's very funny due to the fact that, some people believe that these things work. Personally, I do not believe in any of this, because sometimes it has to do with psychology. For a fact, there
Mhm.
are some men who are likely to be controlled by women due to the fact that they were brought up in a certain way. They have a certain characteristic that allows them to be manipulated in a way, right? So obviously, women know how to filter out men that they can manipulate. When this happens, right, a lot of people usually tend to say, "Oh, okay, I'm sure you know this term, whereby a man is literally controlled by a woman." So is it because he is being manipulated spiritually, or is it because he's just got a weak character and he's allowed women to manipulate him? Yeah, Siku, you there? Yeah, I guess Sikfela is having a tough time today. But anyhow, the other thing that I wanted to talk about is the real secret to money generation and wealth generation, because this misconception needs to be disputed, and we shouldn't go around in our Zambian society thinking this is a quick way to make money, because money has got principles, and making money has got a science, a chemistry to it. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to just basically explain a few things that are definitely going to make you a whole lot of money. So basically, let's talk about the principle of value. So most of the times, right, when people do not have money, what that literally means is they are not adding enough value in order for them to be paid. So basically, when you're broke, you're basically not having enough value that, guarantees that you're going to get paid. So in order for you to generate income, you have to provide value, and value can be analyzed in different ways. There are people who are intellectually valuable. There are people who are gifted physically, aka sportsmen, sportswomen, and there are also people who are entertainers. All that is under the connotation of value. So when you have value and you also know how to sell whatever you have, selling can be a product or a skill, right? Skill slash product, okay? Uh, slash service. Okay. In order for you to get money, you need to do something. You need to provide a service. You need to sell something. When you sell something, you get money, and that provides value. So when you do that, right, you obviously need to market yourself, market whatever you are doing. So basically, if you market whatever you are selling, be it your skill, your product, your service, you are providing value. And that is definitely going to give you the dollars, the money. So whenever you're feeling broke, whenever you're feeling you don't really have a lot of opportunities, whenever you think, okay, you're not really going anywhere, just reevaluate this triangle of success. What services are you selling? Do you have the right appropriate skills? Because sometimes you might be in a location or in an area where your skills do not underline with whatever company you're working for. So you have to reposition yourself. So if you understand how to position yourself, how to figure out what the best skills, products, or services to sell, and if you understand how to market yourself. And then marketing is a very vague word, because marketing happens on many levels. Let's say, for example, a friend of yours recommends you to be hired by a particular company, right? They are basically marketing you. Okay, if you come on Facebook, you're selling your products on Facebook. We've seen a lot of people selling products on Facebook. Facebook is a marketplace. Okay, so once you figure out how to market your product, your service, allow the right people, the right demographic to find you, you're definitely going to be able to make some sales. And while you're doing that, right, you're obviously providing enough value. So, ladies and gentlemen, if as a society we understand the basic principles of making money, value addition, selling a product, marketing a product, there's obviously no way we are going to fail to make money. And I do understand sometimes it's a cyclical thing. There are periods where you have very little limited business, very little business, and it's very difficult for you to get clients and so on and so forth. But eventually, if you do persevere, you're definitely going to be able to make money and be able to sustain yourself. So the issue of seeking divine intervention or spiritual privileges in terms of ritualism and just practicing awkward beliefs, it's not really going to give you money. And if you do get blood money, witchcraft money, best believe you're not going to keep it. You're not going to enjoy it. You're not going to keep it. You're going to have a lot of guilt if you're ever going to get the money at all. Personally, I do not believe in ritual money, magic money. I've never seen anybody who's gone to a shrine or going to Luapula, because everybody respects Luapula, and they came back with a lot of money. I have literally never seen anybody. But if you use what we just talked about, value addition, selling, and marketing, and figuring out what type of skills, products, and services you're going to be offering to people, aka to the market, and letting people discover who you are, you're definitely going to be able to make a lot of money. Anyway, Siku, you're back.
Yeah, definitely. I'm back, and quite an interesting presentation that you had there. Very informative, and we have so many examples of people literally doing that. A lot of examples of women, young ladies doing that. For example, Tina Chilufya is one person I can mention off the top of my head. She's got Tina Shakes, and she's looked at a market that is huge. She's looked at ladies. It was trendy to be thick, so she started selling a protein shake that encouraged women to, gain weight and, properly shape up and whatnot. So she capitalized off that market, marketed herself properly on social media. Social media had the numbers, and she's pretty much living a comfortable life, ensuring that she is taking care of herself and her children. So we've had so many examples of people that are actually, capitalizing in terms of creating value and realizing that there is an opportunity in a certain market. I would also go in as far as putting in Auntie Millie, her beauty products. She looked at the market, she looked at the need for beauty products, and she capitalized. And fast forward to today, we know her as a savvy businesswoman. So I think there is no such thing as no hope. There's always something that one person can do. I can also talk about Ben Lombe, Queen B. We might say, no, but he's calling himself Queen Bee and whatnot. That's a marketing strategy. He has the ladies that actually can afford his Brazilian hair, his Peruvian hair, so he's realized that this is the best way to market myself and market my craft and get the people that can actually afford my services. So I think it's time to be innovative. It's time to not sit down and just say, let's wait for the government to provide opportunities and jobs, because there's no job that's going to come. You're at home. Government stock right now. The competition is very stiff. Even if you've got your qualifications, you've got your diploma, your degree as a teacher, you have to ensure that that even when government is recruiting, it's competitive, because the whole Zambia, they are recruiting from the whole Zambia. And right now we are 20 million plus people. And then let's say maybe half of that or 5 million of that are actually applied for those jobs. So, there's a high probability chance that you'll be left out from that selection. So this is where now we have to look at entrepreneurship and how well we can change the mindsets of people. And the beauty about it is that we are in an environment where it's easy to access capital. What do I mean by that? We've got CDF grants that are coming through, loans that are coming through. CEEC is giving loans at very affordable rates, So I think if somebody says, Chikwete kwa kufumia or Chikwete idea, right now you can do literally anything with your phone. You can market yourself, you can post something, you can go to a Chinese shop in Zambia and buy something and then resell it, put a markup price of a 50 kwacha or a 20 kwacha, sell 10 of those, you have 100 kwacha, and you return your profit. So I think it's high time that we kind of opened our minds and just became more of a hustle nation.
Yeah, for sure. And I do agree with you. And by the way, let me give you a fun fact. You see, all the papas, all the witch doctors, all the witchcraft people, they are actually selling a product. You are a product. So if you go to a papa, right, and the papa says, okay, you need to give me a Range Rover, or you need to give me 100,000, you need to give me 50,000 kwacha. You are the target audience. They are basically making money off of you. To them, it is actually a business. So this is one of the reasons why sometimes we need to have sensitization as a society, because a lot of people only think in one way with regards to making money. In Zambia, the normal practice is, okay, you graduate from high school, you go to university or you go to any college, then you get employed, you become a entrepreneur or you become a politician, etc. So we need to sort of inculcate the spirit of diversification in terms of income generation. You understand? So right now, there's a lot of different opportunities that are emerging. All you have to do is figure out what your thing is. You see, the way we are blessed could be different from the way that you are blessed. A lot of Zambian footballers, the popular ones, they're very skilled at football. They are very good at that. That brings them income. Maybe your thing is cooking. Maybe you've got the best recipe. You've got ideas about designing, fashion, etc. So all we have to educate the population is how do you get to attract money? Because money is a spirit that needs to be attracted. When I use the word spirit, right? A lot of you are going to get into spiritualism and you're going to want to use witchcraft, which is the wrong way. So if we educate people on how to provide value and how to understand how to do research, because markets are very different. If you go, let's say, for example, to Baghdad, or if you go to New Delhi, India, or if you go to Pretoria, South Africa, you have to apply skills in a different way. So this is one of the reasons why it's very important for us to educate people on how to think. And as a society, right, we are not very innovative in terms of problem solving, and this is one of the reasons why our educational syllabus in universities is very limited. We mostly recite, we mostly focus on theory. We do not really practice our crafts, etc. And this is one of the reasons why when we have, or rather when we experience flooding in Lusaka, right, it's been over 20 years, it's been over 60 years since we've had the issue of flooding. But as a society, we haven't solved that problem because we are not a very out of the box thinking type of society. Most of the times we like to follow certain stipulations, and we're very limited in how we apply our knowledge, because most of the times we're always reciting and trying to remember the theory, and we're not very, very practical. So if we sort of have a mentality where we are able to focus on skills harnessing, is going to be very good. And right now, I'm very thankful to the new Dong government, because there's obviously CDF scholarships that are really honing in with regards to shaping the skill set of people. A lot of Zambian citizens have been offered a lot of scholarships under CDF in order for them to understand craftsmanships. There's carpentry, there's plumbing, there's a lot of those skills that can literally be very, very useful for us in society. Siku, you still there?
Definitely. Yeah, still here. Definitely, definitely. And I feel there's a lot to talk about where it comes to this issue, because we have to understand value addition. And as a nation and as a people, this is something that we really have failed ourselves, because we do not really create value addition. We've got the minds. How are we creating value addition? We're only thinking about supplying things and whatnot, but what can we do in terms of value addition that we can see that, oh, okay, money will remain in Zambia? And like you mentioned, the New Dawn government is prioritizing skills, people are acquiring skills, and we're seeing this with the CDF bursaries, the skill sets, and all that, and all those things, and which is very important, because now we'll have plumbers, we'll have qualified plumbers, we'll have qualified artisans, we'll be able to make our own stuff, we'll be able to do a lot that we are outsourcing from outside the country. So this is very important that we have these conversations, especially with our ladies. And I would love to say that I'm impressed with the Generation Z, because these are very tech savvy guys, and they know how to utilize opportunities where it comes to online content. And I'm starting to see a different mindset from them. They are more go-getters than millennials and the generation before that, because they have now they're seeing the loopholes, and they're understanding the value, the importance of value addition. I mean, look at the guys like the Brian Chandas, who have really capitalized on the youth population and ensuring that they are selling products that's attractive to the Generation Z. So these are things that we really need to talk more about, creating more information and platforms where people can learn about value addition, marketing, also utilizing available platforms. For example, you want to sell something, Facebook marketing is absolutely free. You just have to have an account, and you have an online platform where you can sell your services. You don't necessarily have to go and rent a shop. Kuma city market, all you have to do is have a strategy. And these are things that people now should start looking for in terms of information, because information is not going to just drop onto on your laps and say, hey, this is the information, so now you have it. You have to go out there and look for it. So I think that's something that I can just hugely emphasize on, that we need to start looking for this information. We need to start looking at the opportunities and creating more value so that we capitalize and make money.
Yeah, definitely. And Zambia is obviously endowed with a lot of natural resources. We've got a lot of minerals, but believe you me, it's very difficult for Zambians to benefit off of the minerals. Even if you had to start a small scale mining company, it's going to take you a lot of capital injection, etc. But when it comes to other things that we can use to generate money, right? Basically, our culture is something that we can easily make a lot of money off of. Take a look at South Africa. Take a look at how Nigeria has monetized their culture. If you look at the biggest entertainment countries here in Africa, right? Obviously, South Africa pops up, Nigeria does pop up. What are they essentially selling to the public? They are selling their culture. Back in the day, right, Zambian homes were filled with Nigerian movies, South African sitcoms, etc. So one of the things that the youths can really use and take advantage of is our culture and selling it. Monetize it. Find a way to monetize our culture. If it's our fashion sense, we shouldn't really sort of steal from other people. Right now, there's this fad with regards to Zambian musicians trying to sound Nigerian or trying to sound like South Africans because they think this is what's selling out there. But we need to come up with a unique way, our unique identity, and figure out how we can monetize it, because it's the only thing that we as citizens of Zambia can actually own. Because if you go and compete with the Chinese with regards to mining minerals, it's going to take you a lot of heavy capital injection, which you are obviously not even going to be able to manage. But when it comes to our culture, our entertainment, we can literally own that entirely. So we just need to export it and figure out a way to monetize it. And this is one of the reasons why the government needs to be able to push monetization, social media monetization, either on Facebook and all these other platforms, because it's going to help empower citizens to come up with money. Mind you, anybody can use social media to prolong whatever they are doing. If you're a CEO, if you happen to be Mzingamelo, you can still use social media to sort of, propel your agenda, show what you're doing in a corporate world, etc. If you're just somebody who's graduated from high school, you can still use social media to sort of market yourself, position yourself, etc. Seku?
Def- Definitely. And this is what we're seeing happening. If you follow Mzingamelu, you're going to see high content everywhere. Beautiful short videos highlighting the events that she's been at, the accomplishments that APSA is going through, and what they're achieving. And we see that with a lot of people that actually have their things properly put together. And the beauty about, I agree with what you're saying, the entertainment. So right now, for the youths, the biggest money makers are entertainment as well as sports. So entertainment, look, how much is Yomops charging for shows? And how much is he making? We've seen how music has transformed his life. So basically the value for musicians and the entertainment industry has gone up. And so that's one way where we can make proper good money. So now we're not only talking about music, right? We're also talking about video directors. Look at the guy that's shooting Yomap's videos, Director Low, huge name. And look at the amount of skill that he has, the beauty of his works, and basically now he's going outside the country and filming other things. When you look at Kenny Rock literally shoots commercial adverts for big corporations around Africa. Now, these guys are people that have ensured that the video quality in Zambia goes to the next level. And this is what has happened. So we've got sound engineers, we've got beat makers, we've got the likes of Stash. Right now, there's Icon Muspika. You know, there are a lot of young producers that are coming up and now also understanding what their value is. So it's about identifying where you are in that chain and what you can offer. And where it comes to sports, same thing. Look at Barbara Banda. You know,
Yep.
how much is Barbara Banda making? How much is Kunda Nanji making? How much is Priska Chilufya making? These guys are making money. And from the men's aspect, Passion Sakala is playing in the Arab leagues and he's getting paid a lot of money. He's rubbing shoulders with Cristiano Ronaldo. Look at Patson Daka, who's in England. Look at Kings Kangwa across Europe. So we've got so much opportunity right now where it comes to sports and entertainment. And as youths, these are things that we can tap in. The issue of social media. You know, there's a job creation in terms of social media management for influential people like Barbara Banda, who's creating content for Barbara Banda. Obviously, she's got the ability to pay. So now what happens when you create content for Barbara Banda's page? You enable Barbara Banda to attract more people, more corporates for sponsorship in terms of like not really sponsorship, for opportunities like brand ambassadorship. So she's making money as a brand ambassador and you are getting paid off of that as well. You know, she gets more deals in terms of brand endorsements, etc., etc. So there's quite a lot of new jobs on the market than thinking, ine ganapusha skurunga mkubomba kumaini shani. Right now, we're in a very good place in terms of creating new money with these new markets. All we have to do is understand, how do you make money off artificial intelligence? Right now, ChatGPT, Gemini, Google AI, these have been the talks, and these have literally made lives easier. You can create articles, you can create a website, you can create a video. These are tools that we have to quicken our work, to make us understand certain things that we didn't know and just improve our skills. So it's a matter of the people that youths, you know, I didn't want to use the term youths, but all Zambian citizens, that they can try and learn all these new skills in order for them to survive this new world.
Yeah, for sure. And remember, we had a conversation about tech hubs, business hubs, etc. So, what usually happens here in Zambia is there are a handful of technology hubs or business hubs. For example, Lusaka has got a decent number, maybe about four, five, six, seven. I don't know, maybe about six here in Lusaka. So, if you go to other provinces outside of Lusaka, right, these are non existent. And how are people going to be able to adapt to technology? How are people going to be able to take advantage of artificial intelligence, machine learning, etc? So this is one of the reasons why, you know, we also need a pat on the back as far as the government is concerned. There are certain uh, direct, deliberate actions that the government needs to sort of implement. They need to do certain stuff so that they can stimulate citizens to think and gravitate in certain directions. Okay, so when it comes to sports centers, imagine if Zambia had 10 Barbara Bandas or 15 Barbara Bandas. Imagine if we had recreational sports facilities where young kids can actually go there, get groomed, and, you know, hopefully make it big. By the way, entertainment, sports, harnessing of young people is also a very big business. If you go to places like the United Kingdom, right, a lot of big players start from academies. They start from, you know, baby academies, youth academies, and then they eventually graduate and go to the premium league. So if we figure out a way to stimulate the citizens to participate in certain deliberate actions so that they can be productive in a certain way, we're obviously going to have the best sports people. We're going to have the best software developers, the best video editors, etc.
Definitely, definitely. And this is the conversation. This is what the youth movement should be about. We should talk about all these new ways of making money that the government should enable. They should create an environment that lets us, do our thing and make money. And we're going to stop crying about the government providing opportunities, because right now the opportunity is I only need this the handset that I need. That's the only opportunity that I need. And there's a lot of information and a lot of skills to be learned over that. And the other thing that I wanted to also add is, like generally sports is very interesting. I'm starting to learn about the impact of golf and how golf is really helping a lot of young people. Here on the Copper Belt in Quito, to be precise, we have Nkana Golf Club. The amount of young people that Nkana Golf Club has sponsored via the game of sports is quite astonishing, and just how the impact on their lives has been, is something that needs to be highlighted, because away from soccer, there are other sports disciplines, and we need to also show that they are results in these other sports disciplines as well. We've got basketball, and basketball in the next 10 years, I guarantee is going to be a huge game on the African continent, because we're seeing people from the NBA who are African, who are playing in America, come back to Africa. In Sudan, the coach for the Sudanese basketball team was an NBA player, and he is exporting a lot of young Sudanese players to America. So the African continent definitely is going to see a boost in terms of basketball, and there are so many activities that are there, and this is why we need an active Ministry of Sports that's not just only looking at soccer, an active Ministry of of an active government, basically, that is ready to adapt in the new in the new way of doing things, in the new markets that are opening up, so that we do not get left behind. And this is why we need a lot of young people participation in politics and in decision making, most importantly in decision making, because I love the Minister of Technology, Honorable Felix Mutati, but if you asked me to ask him a question about AI, I don't think he would, have the right information about it, because it's past his era. So there are key ministries such as Ministry of Technology that we need people that are able to, give us, show us where the opportunities are, give us answers too. Because, for example, if a millennial was a minister of technology, they understand where Microsoft came from. They understand where Apple came from. They understand how we transitioned from IBM to Microsoft, and just how our operating systems have been transforming and becoming better and better. So they will be easier to give us technology advancement, because they know these things. They were born in an era where these things were active. So it's very important that we advocate for youth inclusivity, and not just only on paper, but we ensure that as we go to the next general election, we have more youth representation in parliament, as well as in the ministries.
Yeah, definitely. And in conclusion, we do not believe in witchcraft money, ritual money, magic money. We only believe in hard work, value addition, selling, and marketing of skills, products, and services. So, without any further ado, it has been amazing seeing you, lovely people. You have been supporting us. Thank you very much. If you watched the entire live stream, in case you're watching the playback, thank you very much. We are going to be coming live on this platform every single day. Yep, that is a very huge proclamation, but we're trying to strive towards consistency, and we're going to be here each and every day at 8 p.m. So 8 p.m. to about 9 p.m. Zambian time, which is Central African time. You are definitely going to be able to catch us. So if you want to chime in, you want to give us your opinions, all the comments are definitely going to be displayed like this. So thank you to all the people that were able to support us, and thank you for showing us all the love. Siku, what are your last remarks before we close it off?
Let's not fall victim to people that are going to come and tell you you can make more money by doing A, B, C, and D rituals. Let's just use our brains and ensure that we make money the right way. We're a Christian nation. We decided to be a Christian nation, so let's not abandon our Christian values. Even we've learned that through the Bible. We've learned when Moses helped the Israelites, from Egypt. The Israelites at some point forsake God and started idol worshiping and whatnot. We've learned the stories. We know the stories in the Bible. We're Christians, and let's not go there. Let's just ensure that we do the right thing, get the right information, access right platforms. Z Corner is one of the right platforms. You can go to the Z Corner website, which has got some pretty good articles about various different industries. And let's learn something new, and let's learn how to sell and make a sale, because that's the most important thing, is making a sale. Your life will not change if you haven't sold anything or you haven't exchanged a service for that money bill. So let's ensure we do the right thing.
All right, that was beautiful. So thank you very much. Talk to you a little bit later. You guys have been awesome. See you tomorrow, same time, 8 p.m. Central African time, Zambian time. Thank you.